All right. So yesterday I had made this recording, and it was my first time making a recording in my car. But then after I watched it back, I found out it was really bumpy, and it wasn't great. And so I've made some changes to how I'm going to be doing this recording, and hopefully it's nowhere near as bumpy. All right. So the topic that I want to talk about today is web development and how you get into web development. And what's the appeal? Why people want web developers? Alright, so at a high level, what is a web developer? A developer is somebody who can build something on the web specifically using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Those are people who are typically known as client developers. They specialize in, again, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML and CSS is what you use to make the screen, what you see on the screen. CSS is the styling, giving it colors and positioning. And JavaScript is like the wiring. It's what makes the site function. It's also the thing that you use to go get data from a backend, from databases, and APIs. Just like Twitter, your information isn't all stored on the page. You got to go out to a server to go pull that information down. So that's back-end development. A web developer can be encompassed into that as well, being a back-end developer. So those are typically known as full-stack developers. And they build things like APIs. That's things that you can make a request to. You say, go out to this URL, get this data, and come back to me with that data. So it's like your user information, Twitter posts, Facebook posts, all sorts of things. And they also do databases. That's where you store your information into something that holds it for long term. Alright, so that's front end and back end at a high level. Alright, so that's what a developer is, a web developer. Now, why? Why do you want to become a web developer? Well, it's up to you if that's really what you want to do. The perks of being a developer that I've experienced, I've been doing development for about 8 years now. Late nights, not really a thing. I might have to do that once in a while, like maybe once a year. And late night is like 11 o'clock, where we have to do a deploy out whenever there's not a lot of traffic, not a lot of people using our application, so we don't mess up their experience. Now, let's see here. Another perk is, so it's normal work hours. It's typically between 9 to 5, which is really, really nice. And it's really flexible. Your work schedule is fantastic. Most places don't care too much about when you do your work, as long as you get your work done. So you can work in the evenings if we want to. You can work early in the morning, or just work normal work hours. That's typically what I do, is I just have normal work hours that I go in. I like to get there around 7:30, 8, and then I'll get done between like 3 and 4. That's just how I like to do my days, but again, you can do whatever you want. I have coworkers who will get there around 9, and then they'll leave sometime afternoon, and then they'll jump back on in the evenings to finish working. So that's another perk. Alright, so now we're going to talk about the bad things. What are some of the things that are not great about development? You can take it however you want. I don't mind these things too much. But one, it's fast-paced. A lot of times you look into a company where they need a new feature and they need it done as soon as possible. Or there's an outage. As soon as something goes wrong with the site and people can't use your website or your app, you're losing money. So there'll be a fire. They say, guys, get this thing fixed as fast as possible. We're really hurting on the business. So it can be high stress. I personally like that. I think it's fun to be in an environment that's not sleepy. It feels like I'm on an adventure all the time. That could be just my personality. That's something that I just like to do. Alright, let's see, here's the other negatives. You are sitting at a computer for about 4 to 5 hours a day, sitting or standing. A lot of places you get a standing desk. So if you don't like that, then yeah, it might be rough for you. But a lot of times you will be in the zone and you'll be focused on a problem and you won't even realize how much time is passing because you're just really going heads down on this problem. And I find that's fun. I think it's fun problem solving where you are focused and you're trying to get something done and you actually have something that's deliverable that says, I did this thing and here's what it did. So that's fun. It's a sense of accomplishment. All right, so positive spin a lot of those negatives, but it's all in your personality if you like those things or not. All right, now let's talk about the pay for a web developer. So I'm located in Utah, around the Salt Lake area, and the pay. So when I first started off, I got a job right out of school, making $45,000 a year. That's pretty good for right out of college. That's not bad. Nowadays, if you get right out of college or out of a boot camp, I'll talk about that in a second, expect to be making about 60. That's right out the door. All right. And then what can you get up to? Well, sky's the limit, pretty much. It does have a tapering effect. In this area, looking at Indeed, the prices are getting up to about $140, $150 is what you'll see as like the high ends of, hey, we'll get you for $150. There are higher paying ones in the area, especially if you specialize in a certain skill, and you're able to jump in and really help turn companies around. And you have to pitch yourself really well, but you can get up to like the 210s, 250s. But those ones are tougher. You really gotta pitch yourself. So now, how easy is it to get a job? That comes back to skill. But there is a huge demand for developers right now. Massive demand. I personally get about one person a day reaching out to me asking if I'll come work for their company or interview for their company. And so, yeah, it's massive. I know just a few years ago it was like a 10 to 1. There's 10 jobs per every one developer. Like, I'm just passing a sign that says we're hiring off to the left here for a place, and there's another one off to my right here that says they're hiring for developers as well. So Utah's a fantastic place for developers. Another perk too is that you don't necessarily have to be in a city, so you don't necessarily have to be here in Utah. Everywhere has developers, but a lot of places do remote development, so that's super nice where you can work from home. It can get lonely, but it's not bad. I like going into the office because I can spend time with my coworkers, get some interaction. We have a ping pong table. It's fun to do that, and we'll go to the gas station, get sodas and snacks together. And I don't know, it's fun. I enjoy that kind of stuff. All right, so pay's good. Finding work is good. Now, how do you get into the field? Education. I've mentioned one already, which is going to school for it. So I got my bachelor's degree in web development. You can get it in computer science or CIT, computer information technology. Oh shoot! Oh man, that's not good. I gotta remember what that CIT stands for. So those are good areas to go into to get your degree. That's a 4-year plan. There's other ways to do it too. There is boot camps. My friends actually just got done with a boot camp here in Utah called Dev Mountain. It has a high pay up front. I think it was $14,000. But what they got out of that is 3 or 4 months straight from 9 in the morning till 5 in the evening, Monday through Friday, of pure development work. They sit you down and they just pump it at you. Tons of information. You gotta process it, figure it out. You get group projects, individual projects. But yeah, I was very impressed. My friends had no development experience at all, and they came out of there being able to build a website and also build a back end with a database and an API layer where they were able to communicate. And they're able to, they're already receiving job offers and interview at places that are looking to pay them about $70,000. So that's pretty good. They'll be able to pay that back, that $14,000, fairly quickly. There are places, another type of boot camp where you pay absolutely nothing. I don't know what they're called. Hopefully I'll find out what that's called. Potentially have it down in the comments. Where you pay nothing at all, but upon graduation, once you get a development job, they will, for the next 2 years, take 10% of your salary for 2 years to pay back. So they are encouraged to, they're incentivized to help find you a job once you graduate. So that's a good one too. Both of those are great options. And then there's a third option. You could go and be self-taught. I work with a few people who were self-taught, and they're great. Very smart. They're typically people who, they didn't have anyone holding their hand, so they will dive deep into code, look at the source, and they really get down to looking at the nitty-gritty of how code works. And so they're smart. I personally, whenever I'm managing someone like that, I will throw them at the really weird, tough problems, because they'll figure it out. They'll dive really deep into the source code. Some drawbacks, I've had experiences with people like that though. They're a little bit slower because they will see things that are odd with the code, and they will go off and explore those areas, and they'll be gone for a while. So something that might take a day to finish, they'll take like 3 days because they're doing other things while they're there too. It's not bad. I just understand their strengths and weaknesses, and use them accordingly. Okay, so that's how you can get education. So there's 3 ways: going to school, taking a boot camp, or being self-taught. Yeah, pay's good, development's good, life's good. Let's see here. What are some other things you want to know? Big one is development is pretty collaborative. At least where I work, the places I've worked. Whenever you get stuck on a problem, spend about a half hour struggling at it, just seeing if you can figure it out. And then if you can't, go ask somebody for help. That struggle time is really important. That's where you can have the most growth. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I love development. I hope you guys like it too. Leave me questions and comments down below, and please subscribe and let me know any other stuff here. Have a good one.